Welcome to Love in Life, a guide to a positive mindset. My aim is to show you that the key to a happier and more positive mind is to love the life you have. We will look at tips and tools you can use to improve your mindset, and the best thing is, we'll all be on this journey together. Hiya! Welcome everyone to episode 4, where today I am talking about the law of attraction. It's the one that you've all been waiting for, the one that I've had most questions about. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my interpretation of the law of attraction. But first, and I know I said I wasn't going to do this every week, but maybe I will, I don't know. I do feel the need to pre-warn you what the dogs are up to today. So here in the UK, we are smack bang in the middle of a heat wave. We get heat waves every year, but we are getting some record temperatures at the moment. And, I know it's a bit of a cliche that people from the UK talk about the weather all the time. I know that's true, but the thing is, we are, as a country, we are not designed for this hot weather. Our homes are built to insulate us because we get such cold weather. So yeah, we do struggle in this heat, so I do apologise. My dogs struggle in this heat as well, so they are in here with me and they are making all sorts of noises, so for that, I apologise. Before I get going, I just want to say thank you to everyone who so far has subscribed, who has liked, who has reviewed, and who's shared. It really does mean a lot, and if you can think of anybody who might be interested in having a listen, then please do feel free to share this with them. It would really mean a lot. Okay, so let's get going. As I said, today I am going to give you my interpretation on the basics of the law of attraction. Now, I just need to stress that I'm not a teacher of this. I am merely a participant or a practitioner, shall we say, of some of the aspects of law of attraction. And it's something that really interests me, and it's something that I truly believe in. And I truly believe has, since I've been practicing it, and probably before as well, which I'll go into later, something that I really believe has enhanced my life. So, simply put, the law of attraction states that like attracts like. What you focus on is what you attract. So basically, if you think positively, and if you respond to things in a positive way, then what you attract back to you will be equally positive. And this obviously works the same if you think negatively and respond to things in a negative way. So you can see why I'm always banging on about being positive. So we all know somebody who always seems to have the best luck. Things always seem to work out for them. And I bet you any money that if I was to ask you to define that person, you'd probably define them as a positive person. So the fact that they're positive is the reason why they're always attracting good luck. But actually, it's not luck. This is a law of attraction. This is a universal law. So they're not attracting luck. They're just attracting the vibes that they're sending out. We also all know somebody who always seems to be ill, somebody who always seems to have the worst luck, somebody who bad things always seem to happen to them. So, and these people usually tend to tell other people about it. It's what they're focusing on. So naturally, sadly, because they're focusing on it, that is what they're attracting back to them. You could think of it as like a boomerang. So the thoughts that you're sending out are coming straight back to you. And another way that I always like to think about it, when I read this in The Secret, is something that's always stuck with me. So if you think of yourself as like a radio what's the word? transmitter. That's the word, I think. God, that made me sound really thick. A radio transmitter. So the thoughts that you're sending out on this transmitter are reaching the universe on a certain frequency, and that is what comes back to you. Hope that makes sense. That's how I like to think of it anyway. So that's it in an absolute nutshell. That's literally the most basic way of trying to describe the law of attraction. Now, obviously, I'm not going to leave it there because that would be a really shit podcast. But that is the law of attraction summed up in the easiest possible way. Now, obviously, once you've trained yourself to think positively the majority of the time, obviously no one can think positively 100% of the time, but when you have trained yourself to be on a positive frequency the majority of the time, then positive things are naturally going to come to you. But there will be times when you want to try and manifest something positive happening. So you might have something in particular in mind. So, for example, I am currently trying to manifest my son's passport being sent back in a reasonable amount of time. Here in this country at the moment, everybody seems to be applying for a passport all at the same time. So passports are notoriously taking a long time at the moment. Now, I could focus on that and obviously be sending out negative vibes. However, I am actively searching up positive stories of people who have had their passports back in a reasonable amount of time. And I'm focusing on these stories. And I am trying to raise my frequency of positivity by focusing on these things. So let's say that you want to manifest, I don't know, say an extra £100 every month into your life. I'm using that example because it's something that everybody can relate to who doesn't want more money in their lives. And it's probably one of the most common things that people do try and manifest. So let's say you want to try and manifest extra £100 every month into your life. Now, if you've ever read The Secret or you've heard of The Secret, they have a 3-step guide to manifesting what you want, which is ask, believe, and receive. Now, I think there are a few more steps to this, and so I'm going to take you through my steps of what I think are the most important steps to take. You might think of more. Everybody's different at the end of the day, and the most important thing is you have to do whatever makes you truly believe what you're trying to manifest is going to become reality. So my first step is to determine what it is that you really want. And like I said, it needs to be something that you truly believe will be able to manifest. So for this reason, it needs to be something that you're really passionate about and really care about, but also something that is realistic as well. So if I wanted to manifest an extra £1 million, that's probably not going to happen. But manifesting £100 a month, that's pretty doable if you do the next step, which is take inspired action. So taking inspired action can be done in a couple of different ways, and it can be a mix of mind and action. So a good example of this is if you want to change your something about your body. So if you want to lose weight or you want to tone up, you want to fit into that bikini ready for the summer, you can try and manifest that happening, but without taking inspired action, you're not going to get very far with it. So you have to make a decision on what it is you want to achieve, really focus your mind on it, but then your inspired action would be doing more exercise, taking an extra class, cutting a few calories out of your diet every day. So this would be your inspired action. And do you remember I said that it needs to be something that you really passionately care about? So if fitting into that bikini is super duper important to you, then, and you care about it enough, then cutting a few calories out of your diet is going to be easy. If you want it that bad, then you will do it. So you figured out the actual physical actions that you can take to try and manifest fitting into that bikini. However, there are a few other things you can do in your mind that would help you along the way. So visualization and affirmations are really helpful, as are vision boards or mood boards. And they're just a couple of ways that we can use the power of our mind to help us along the way. So going back to our example of manifesting an extra £100 every month, your inspired action could be something like applying for a new job, applying for a promotion, selling some clothes from your wardrobe. People make good money nowadays selling things that they don't use anymore. So if you combine these physical actions with some visualization, so a super easy way to visualize more money is to close your eyes. I always find it easier to visualize with my eyes closed, and picture your bank account. Picture your if you access your bank account on your phone, for example, on an app, then picture that extra £100 in your bank account on your phone. So visualization is such a powerful way to try and manifest something, because it really helps you truly believe that it's going to happen. So there we go. We've determined what we want. We've taken the inspired action to get us there. So you've applied for your new job, for example. And then the demons start creeping in. Then you start hearing the negative thoughts that naturally come to us. You start doubting yourself. So you're not going to get that job. There's 100 people applying for that job. What on earth makes you think you're going to get that job? So the next thing we need to do, step 3, is to work on your limiting beliefs. So in this example, where we're trying to manifest the extra money every month, we've applied for a job, and your limiting beliefs are telling you that you're not going to get the job. Somebody, Jill in the other department, she's much better. She's worked there for longer. She's got more experience. These thoughts that gradually start creeping in, they are, your inner thoughts that are trying to protect you and prepare you for the worst case scenario. But we can actually take these limiting beliefs and turn them around. Excuse me, that's my phone going off. I really should have put my phone on silent. Sorry, that's my cousin. So where was I? Your limiting beliefs are trying to protect you from the worst case scenario. So if we identify what your limiting beliefs are, what limiting beliefs are holding you back. And I think I might have covered this in one of my previous episodes or something similar. So obviously Jill's applied for the job as well. She's worked there for 10 years. You've only worked there for 5 years. But let's say you might have a personality that's more suited to this new job role that you're going for. Jill might be too experienced for the job role that you're going for. You are not the one to decide that Jill is more qualified for this job than you. That is not your job to decide. Your brain is going into overactive mode at this point, trying to tell you that it's not going to happen. But your job now is to recognize that this is what your brain is doing and put those limiting beliefs to bed. Tell them that they're a load of rubbish, and, what's the worst that can happen? It probably goes without saying as well that the bigger the thing you're trying to manifest here, the more limiting beliefs you're probably going to have. So the more work you're going to have to do at this stage. So the next step in the process is where belief comes into it. But I don't think it's enough to just believe. I think it's really important to trust that your the universe, or if you are religious and you believe in God, you have to trust that they've got your back and that this is gonna happen for you. But you need to be patient as well. So under this step, you have belief, you have trust, but I think you have to be patient as well. So if, for example, Jill does get the job and you don't automatically tell yourself, that's it, I'm not going to be getting a promotion, I'm not going to be getting a new job, I'm not going to be earning my extra £100 a month. It's really important at this stage not to feel defeated. So trust that the universe has a better plan for you. Maybe it wasn't the right job for you. Maybe there's something better coming along. Maybe there's something different you should be doing. And I think another important part of this stage, as well as the trust and the patience, is to really feel the connection with your higher power, whatever that might be, whether it's the universe, your God, whether it's yourself. Really, if you really feel the connection, then you will trust that the right outcome will eventually come along for you. And that might be next week, that might be next month, it might be next year, but it might not be for another 5 years. If you truly trust the process, then it will happen at the right time. Everything works out for a reason. That actually reminds me of the Friends episode. Sorry if you're not a Friends fan, you're going to find this boring. But do you remember the Friends episode where Rachel and Tag are out on the balcony and he says to her, she says, it's going to work out because it has to. And he says something like, well, why does it have to? And she said, because it just has to. And he says, you really do have all the answers, don't you? And that right there is trust that things are going to happen at the right time. That just sums it up perfectly for me. It just has to. It has to work out. It always does. Whether you realise that it's the right outcome at the time or not, it doesn't matter. It always works out in the end for a reason. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but are you going to think the same when your son's passport doesn't come through in time? Now, my friend, I'm here to tell you, A, I truly believe it will come in time. But B, if it doesn't, then I totally believe that we're not meant to go on that holiday that we've booked. By the way, I forgot to mention that part. We have actually booked a holiday, so I am pushing it. But there we go. But I do truly believe that if for any reason it doesn't come through in time, which it will, because I truly believe it will, if it doesn't, then there must be a reason why we are not meant to go on that holiday. And, what's the worst that will happen is that we have to change our holiday for another date in the autumn or, whenever it might be. But there will be a reason why we weren't meant to be going on holiday at that particular time. But that's not going to happen because it will come through in time. And I would update you on that situation when it comes through, because I know that's all you'll be thinking about. So where are we now? The next step in the process is when your outcome does manifest itself. So when you get offered the job, or maybe you're not, maybe you go for a different job, or maybe you realize it's not for you, maybe something else happens and you get your extra £100 a month. Be grateful for that £100 a month. Really celebrate whatever it is you've done to get yourself there. Really celebrate it. This is a really important part in the whole process. And to be honest with you, without any of these things, I don't think it all comes together. So, that's equally as important with the gratitude stage. And I think by celebrating, it actually encourages you to show more gratitude. So when my husband had his promotion confirmed, I think that was back in February or March now, we went out and we celebrated with our children, and we went out to have a meal, and we actually toasted my husband and said congratulations on his new role. And also another example is when I launched my podcast, I had for my 40th birthday, which was just over a month ago now, I had a bottle of Moët, which is not exactly the kind of thing that you would just open on a Friday night. So I said to myself, right, when I launch my podcast, when I've published my first episode, that is when I'm going to open that bottle of Moët. And it's just an extra way of showing gratitude, of feeling gratitude, because this is really the important thing here, is that you feel grateful for what you have just received or accomplished. But obviously it's also important to show gratitude to the people who might have helped you accomplish what you wanted to achieve, people who've helped you along the way. So if somebody has gone out of their way to speed something up for you, or if somebody has coached you through the interview process, then really show them thanks. Why don't you treat them to a bunch of flowers or a bottle of wine, or show them how much you appreciate their input in your journey. Even a simple thank you card or a text message, just to tell them in your own words how much you appreciate them. So there we go. That is the very basics on law of attraction. So like attracts like, and what you think about is what you attract. What you focus your thoughts on is what you attract. And then my 5 steps to manifesting something in particular, which are: determine what it is you really want, take inspired action, work on your limiting beliefs, trust and have patience in the process, and finally, have gratitude when you do receive it. So I don't know if you want to hear a couple of my manifesting stories, things that I've manifested over the last few years. The biggest one for me has to be a couple of years ago now, we decided to put our house on the market, and this is when I really first started getting into manifesting. And for some reason I had, this was completely random by the way, but I had 10 grand in my head. Like, who decides to manifest 10 grand? But there we go. When we sold our house, we had offers on it within the first couple of days. And then we also, so for the asking price, we had offers through for the asking price within a couple of days. And then the following day, before we'd accepted an offer, we actually had an offer for 10 grand over the asking price, which that to me was just blew my mind, because I didn't really, to be honest with you, obviously I had it in my head, I was trying to manifest 10 grand. I did not have a clue how I was going to do it. But I guess even though I didn't realise, my inspired action was putting the house on the market, and that was where my 10 grand manifested. Now, if I wouldn't have manifested that extra £10,000, then there was another person in this process, which was my husband. We wouldn't have been able to purchase the house that we purchased, which is such a wonderful house. It really is our dream house. We don't get me wrong, we've got a lot of work to do on it. I can't remember if I've bored you with the details on my house yet. I'm sure I will at some point. But it literally is, I just am so in love with this house. And we've been here for 18 months now. Another thing that I manifested was the moving in date. So I cut it a bit fine, actually. So I decided that I wanted Christmas in this new house. And I can't remember when it was. I think we sold our house in the October sometime. So obviously Christmas before, the Christmas closing down period where all the solicitors and mortgage banks and all that closed down for Christmas. I think we had until the 18th of December for everything to go through. So because I wanted to move in before Christmas, I was just thinking, right, 18th of December. Every single night before I went to bed, I would visualize like so vividly. I can actually picture the picture that I was picturing now. I was visualizing my whole family sat around my dining table with the Christmas tree up in the background. I was visualizing this every single night from the moment we put in the offer for this house, right up until the night before we moved in. And would you believe it? We moved in on the 18th of December, which was the last possible day. It actually looked like, a couple of days before, it actually looked like we weren't going to be in. But not at one point did I believe that it wasn't going to happen. And it did happen. So that's a couple of my stories. I've got many, many more to tell. Some are big, some are small. Another small one that I can think of off the top of my head is one Christmas I wanted to sell a load of stuff on eBay, and obviously the post office at Christmas time, with people sending parcels and selling things and what have you, the queue for the post office was just ridiculous. It's always ridiculous the whole way through December, right? Probably from mid-November right up until Christmas week. And I was selling a load of stuff on eBay, and I really needed to send my parcel before I went and picked up my youngest from school. So I don't know what made me do it, but I didn't give myself much time. But I visualized as I was driving. So actually, I don't always close my eyes when I visualize, but I promise you I didn't visualize with my eyes shut when I was driving. But I imagined pulling up and parking in the car park and seeing no queue, so no people queuing outside the post office, which is exactly what happened, which is like a complete miracle. So I parked in the car park. I went straight into the post office. There's probably about 2, maybe 3 people in the queue when I went in, which is fine, obviously. And I came out of the post office after sending my parcel, and I am not joking, the queue was going up and round the corner. So I truly believe that I manifested that. What other explanation is there? So yeah, there we go. There's a couple of my stories. Something else you might be interested to know is a few celebrities that practice law of attraction. So you might have heard of Jim Carrey's story. So when he was trying to get into acting, he kept getting rejections, and I think every audition that he went to, he would go home and visualize this check that he had written out for himself for £10 million. And every time he got rejected, he would go back to his check and hold it in front of him and visualize, having an offer for £10 million. Did I say 10 million? Either way, that's what I meant, £10 million or dollars. And I think it took him years to achieve it, but his first role that he landed his first movie role was £10 million. So for all those years that he carried that check around with him, he manifested that. So that's quite a big story. Will Smith is quite big on law of attraction. Lady Gaga, she openly has said that she used affirmations to get her where she is now. Oprah Winfrey, Albert Einstein is a biggie in the law of attraction world. Lewis Hamilton, he puts a lot of his success down to the processes that he has followed. And Denzel Washington, who I absolutely love. Denz, like, me and my husband have watched, we think, all of his movies, but every now and again one pops up and we're like, oh, we haven't seen that one. But he has publicly said, positively and negatively you attract. Not just what you fear, but what you feel you are. So actually that makes me think of, have you ever had a fear that you've managed to manifest? Like, I've done it so many times where I completely fear spiders, and the amount of times that I've thought too much about a spider being in my bedroom, and then it turns out there is a spider in my bedroom. Like, I've done it so many times. So it just goes to show that what we think about and what we focus on, it does become. So there we have it, the law of attraction. I hope you've enjoyed that episode. I could literally go on and on and on, and I will cover some of the subjects in a little bit more detail down the line, but we're up to half an hour now. We've gone over half an hour, which is my longest episode, which is quite a record. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. If there is anything that you want me to go over in more detail, then please let me know. I will at some point go more into, I'm not a scientist, but more of a scientific explanation, which obviously I've only covered the basics today, but a bit more of a scientific explanation on like frequency and vibes that we send out and that we attract. I could go on forever about manifesting and visualization, so I will do more episodes on that. So if you've got any requests, please do let me know. And if not, then tune in next week. Oh, that reminds me, before I go, please do, I know I said it at the beginning of the episode, but please do subscribe, please do review, and please do like my episodes if you can. It just really helps with the algorithm, and it helps me reach out to more people. And you know, that's my aim with this podcast, is to reach as many people as I can with my positive vibes. So on that note, I am sending you my positive vibes. And I didn't give you any homework to do. Try and manifest something little. So it could be something like, you know, with my post office story, or trying to manifest green traffic lights, something like that. Try and manifest something little, something that's achievable, but something that you know you can only put down to the law of attraction and what you've put into it. So please do let me know if you've managed to do anything within the next week. And yeah, I will speak to you then. Have a great week. Bye.